Good morning, fellow photo nerds. PopPhoto.com editor Stan Horacek here in New York City, standing next to a man who many of you should recognize, iconic photographer, Joe McNally. Well, anyway, we're here in New York at the Time Warner Center for the press preview of Joe's new exhibition. The atmosphere here is absolutely amazing. We got to check out a bunch of the work, and we got to interact with a lot of the FDNY guys who are here. And I think that really the best way to sort of give an overview is to have you sort of tell everybody about the project and how it came about in the past decade.
Sure, happy to actually. Basically it's a collection of pictures of some amazing people. It started with the idea of recording or honoring these people really after 9/11 and what they did. The show at its core is a collection of people whose lives dramatically intersected 9/11, and I had the notion that to convey a sense of heroism and stature I would use a very unique camera. It was the world's only giant Polaroid camera, and it renders a print that is life-size, same as a regular Polaroid. 90 seconds after you shoot it, you have a life-size print. So that was the original project, that was the nature of it, and it was all shot within a month or so of 9/11 itself. The pictures from that time became a book and a traveling exhibit, and it helped raise close to $2 million for the relief effort. And then since that time, the immediacy of 9/11 faded, and the Polaroids went into storage, and they were exhibited once at the 5-year anniversary at the Firefighters Museum downtown, but beyond that, they haven't been seen very much at all. So it's really an honor to be here at the Time Warner Center, to be able to bring them out again. The impetus for all of this was to update the project for a book called One Nation, published by Life, where I intersected again with a number of folks from the original project 10 years later, and just basically photographed them and asked them about the road that's been traveled.
That's great. There's a ton of stuff here, and there's a lot of amazing images, and sadly we don't have time to go through all of them, but we're standing in front of one specific image here, and I was wondering if you could sort of walk us through sort of your process. I'm sure that this whole project had to be extremely difficult, both technically and emotionally as well, so we'd love to get some insight as to exactly how it is that you shot this.
Sure. What we're looking at is a portrait of John Baldessari, who is at this point a lieutenant with FDNY. When I originally photographed him, he was a firefighter with Engine 33 on Great Jones Street. And John's an amazing guy, and he was the very first person to step in front of the giant Polaroid camera 10 years ago. So naturally we wanted to come back and photograph him again. So this was shot down at the house on Great Jones Street, and that's the Engine 33 truck behind him. It's shot with a D3X camera and a 200mm f2 racked out to f2. So you can see the focus drop on the eyes is very crisp, very clean, but also falls very rapidly. There's an Elinchrom Ranger to camera right, a 74-inch Octa on that. So the big light source is coming this way. There's a little floor skip, a silver tri-grip that's on the floor with another Ranger head bounced into it. That's giving a low lift to the light. You can see the catch lights in the lower quadrant of the eye. You have to do that oftentimes you're photographing a firefighter, because you have to get light up and into the face underneath the helmet. And then in the background is an SB900 that's on a slave eye mode called SU4 mode. It's gelled red, and that's what's producing this red highlight. And then I dragged my shutter a bit. I can't remember my exact shutter speed, but I dragged it a bit and had the emergency lights on the vehicle turned on, so they bleed in a little bit as well. John's got an amazing face, so I knew I wanted to go tight in this particular instance. And I knew I wanted to compress the engine behind him, so long lens was the way to go. Get in tight, emphasize his eyes and his concentration, and it was, I guess, just an overall instinct that I didn't completely start off with this composition. It was a little bit close, but then I almost never locked down on a tripod. I try to move the camera around a little bit, and as I'm moving the camera, I always find you hopefully arrive at maybe a little bit of a upgrade in your composition, or you have this idea you started with, it looks okay, but then you finally find your way to the sweet spot. And in this instance, I think we did pretty well.
Absolutely. So, how can people check out the gallery, whether they're here in New York or whether they're at home online?
You can, if you're physically in New York, you can come by the Time Warner Center. It's open from 9 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. It's free, and the Time Warner Center is at Columbus Circle, 59th and Broadway. If you are an online visitor, you can go to www.facesofgroundzero.com, and the stills, the originals, and the updates are there, along with video interviews of the subjects that are here on the floor.
That's great. The fellows look amazing. We appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.